My wife is trying to use our son in a messy custody battle, and she's doing all this for a little bit of extra money. Well, I see right through her deceitful lies because I know the type of person that she is, and I decide to go ahead and get a lawyer and fight this. What I was not expecting is the fact that she got the best lawyer in town, and she plans on doing this.
Hey guys, my name's Tom, and I know that's a long title, but if you just bear with me, I can explain it all. There's a lot of background information, and I'm in a complex predicament, so this is going to be a long post. I'll appreciate any advice you all have for me. So, up until recently, my life has been what I describe as fairly normal. I had a rough divorce with my ex-wife Sarah, but we've remained civil and always paid child support and have done whatever I could do to ensure my son Sam and I had a comfortable quality life. While Sarah and I certainly aren't friends and won't ever be, we had not had any problems over the past couple of years because all she has ever asked for is a child support. Sure, we would sometimes have an argument here and there. Our personalities are not similar, so we clash over things, but other than some mild skirmishes, things have been pretty civil and smooth for the most part. So imagine my surprise when I get a call from Sarah. The other day telling me how our son Sam is now identifying as a female. Look, I want to be clear, I have no problem with my son living whatever life he chooses to live, and I would support him every step of the way if this was something he actually wanted to do, but Sarah immediately just aroused my suspicion with her tone of voice. It was like she was trying to give me too many details at once, as if to confuse me, and right after she told me all this stuff about Sam identifying as a female, Sarah immediately started telling me how I'm going to have to pay a lot more in child support to cover Sam's new need for, feminine hygiene product, women's clothing, and so on. First of all, Sam had never given any indication that he wanted to be a female. I don't get to see Sam as often as I would like to because he lives with Sarah and I'm just always working, but I've always done my best to maintain an open relationship with him where Sam would feel comfortable sharing these types of things with me, and the fact that this unprecedented bombshell was dropped upon me and immediately followed by a request for more money, my alarm bells started to ring. Sarah's often had trouble telling the truth in the past, which is part of why she got a divorce with me 3 years ago. I'll spare you the humiliating details, but she played me like a fiddle. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt here, but after being burnt before, it was hard not to be somewhat paranoid about her motivations. Like anyone, I asked to speak to Sam myself, just to access the situation. I was not going to fork over a bunch of extra money I could hardly afford without getting some sort of confirmation from Sam himself that he was indeed identifying as a female. What made me even more suspicious of Sarah was that when I asked to speak to Sam, she immediately twisted what I was saying and accused me of not supporting Sam's choice. And she said that if I needed to talk to Sam to believe his wishes, I was a poor father who must not take care about his new life. I tried to remain calm and explain that I only wanted to hear this from Sam directly, and I explained that I had no problem with Sam's personal life if this is what Sam wanted to do. Sarah kept fighting me, saying that I don't care about Sam's well-being, and the last thing she said before hanging up the phone was that she was going to drag me through court and make me pay for Sam's feminine products. I tried to contact Sam on social media just to ask Sam about this myself because I was fuming after the argument with Sarah. Much to my surprise, Sam had deleted his Facebook account and he does not have a cell phone, so I've not been able to contact him once since all this drama started. I can't prove this either, but I'm suspecting Sarah forced Sam to deactivate his profile, so I simply could not reach him. Although my stress over the situation has been immeasurable, I decided to lay low for a few days, hoping it would just blow over. I already sent over this week's child support check, and it was not a penny more than the established amount that we agreed upon 3 years ago. I'm already working my butt off to pay all my bills, and I can't afford to give every penny I have to Sam's new life as a woman. Even if Sarah's telling the truth about the situation, of course, though, I don't believe her. Sam's always been interested in masculine activities, like sports, camping, action movies, you name it. He also has always been quite popular with the ladies at his high school, so it just does not make much sense to me that he would become a woman right now in his life. Despite my efforts to lay low and my hopes for all this to simply blow over, I received a letter in the mail today, and that has me absolutely livid. First, if you're in my small town, the last thing you ever want to receive in the mail is a letter from the office of Jimbo Haggley. You see, Haggley, 49, is one of the most fearsome, infamous lawyers here. He's the type of guy who gets hired for high-profile murder trials and complex corporate lawsuits and all sorts of stuff. He's a capable lawyer and highly skilled, and that's why you don't want to be on the opposite side of him. If I had known Sarah was serious about suing me over this silliness with Sam's feminine hygiene products and the child support, I would have tried to hire Jimbo myself. Granted, there's no way I would be able to afford him. I mean, it's ironic that I'm the one paying the child support payments. That will very likely go towards Jimbo's bank account. Yet Sarah's claiming to need more money from me. Instead of hiring the most feared lawyer in the area, why doesn't she just take that money and spend it on feminine products for Sam on her own? I think we all know the answer to that, though. So, basically, I just need some advice. I considered hiring the divorce lawyer who helped me out with my and Sarah's divorce 3 years back, but after I called him, he told me he does not engage in custody law or anything pertaining to child support payment and the likings. That's the only lawyer I know, because that's the only one I've ever had to use before. So now I'm back to square one to speak. Do you all think I should keep looking for a lawyer to fight this custody battle for me? Because, frankly, I don't just want to win a court case to keep my child support from going up. I want to get to the bottom of what Sarah tried to fill my head with and expose her for being a liar. Some of you might say I'm simply being too harsh and that I should just fork over the money for Sam's. Well, I wish I could agree with you, I really do, but I simply don't trust Sarah enough to do it. Guys, keep in mind, I already said I will support Sam's lifestyle, but if Sam cannot tell me these things himself, that tells me Sarah's very likely pulling the strings and manipulating everything. I'm in a tight spot here, guys. Please, give me the best advice you can possibly give, because I really need it at this time, and I'm continuing to look for lawyers, although I'll admit, part of me does not fill up to the fight against Jimbo if he's really the one representing. I'll be back soon for an update, guys. Update Number 1. Hey everyone, Tom here again, and I've got an update for everybody. I read all the comments in this thread and was happy to see all the kind words and encouragement that I was getting. I was worried people might misunderstand my suspicions, but hey, I found a lawyer in the area who's willing to work within my price range, and his name is Bob Goodman. He's not much of an attention seeker as Jimbo, but he's got a great track record, and he sounded like he had experience and passion for this type of work. After the initial consultation, we got together for an in-person meeting at his office. Mr. Goodman immediately impressed me. He's running a tight and professional operation at his headquarters, and he might not be as well known or feared as Mr. Haggley, but I can tell the guy's smart, capable. We started talking about my situation of Sarah and Sam, and I explained that even though I was paying my required amount of child support, I was not allowed to see my son or speak to him to confirm that he had indeed wanted to transition to a woman. Bob Goodman told me that he had seen several cases like this before, and in each one, the woman was lying about the son's identity. Goodman told me that with the increase in transgender people over the past several years, this has become a rather common trick for ex-wives to try and rope more money out of their ex-spouses. Goodman explained to me that the key to winning what I wanted was to prove in court of law that Sam was simply being manipulated into all this by her mother. He also suggested the idea that Sam might not even be aware that Sarah's telling me all these things about him. Goodman told me it was unlikely that Sam was identifying as a woman or maybe even being forced to, and that normally these issues are immediately dismissed in a court of law. Just hearing all that put me at ease, and he also told me that we would have to prove that Sarah is an unfit mother if I wanted to win custody of Sam, and he informed me that would be much more difficult. He said that I would likely still have to keep paying child support, which, hey, I'm fine with that. But that it's possible I could be granted more visitation rights just to see Sam if I can prove in court of law that Sarah is at the very least a liar, if not an unfit mother. So guys, things seem to be looking up for me. I'm just hoping justice is swift and effective because this stress is getting to me. I want to remain calm, but just the idea of going to court is making me lose sleep. I just wanted to give you an update because I know people were asking about what happened in the comments. Anyways, thank you. Update number 2. Hey, Tom here for an update. Again, I appreciate everyone's supportive comments and kind words and sticking with me. I've been getting some good advice, and it's nice to see a lot of people on my side, so thank you for that. What I'm here to tell you all today, however, is that we had our first day of court, and I have to admit it did not go as planned, and I'm feeling quite discouraged and even more confused about this all than I already was. Since this was only the first court hearing related to the case, me and Bob Goodman did not get much of a chance to say our piece. Here's the crazy part. When I walked into the courtroom, I saw Sam. Sam, well, he was wearing a dress, and my heart nearly sank. Perhaps Sarah was telling the truth after all. Still, Sam looked like the same old Sam I know and love. The only feminine aspect I could see was that he was wearing a dress, which by the way shocked me. He looked extremely uncomfortable and upset, and I have no proof of this, but a parent only knows when their child is upset, and let me tell you, to top it all off, when Sam noticed me in the courtroom, he ran and hugged me. I hugged him as hard as I could, and we both told each other we loved each other, but then just as I was starting to forget I was even in court, Sarah angrily called for Sam to return to her side, and, well, Sam ran away from me. I could not figure out what was happening. I still could not, but I know that if Sam were really upset with me, he would not have rushed over to hug me in front of his mother, who is, well, supposedly supporting. Even if Bob Goodman told me he was perplexed by all this, and he admitted that he'd never actually seen a case like this where the son of the parents had actually worn a dress, or even attempted to look feminine at all. We were severely thrown off, and to make matters even worse, Jimbo Haggley spent the entire court session yapping. He would not stop talking, and he was not even addressing the case. That's what he always does to muddy the waters. Before Bob Goodman and I even got a chance to explain our side of the situation, the judge was calling for recess and said that we would meet again for court next week. Guys, I am so confused by this. I'll let you all know when something else happens. Update number 3. Wow, it's me, Tom, and I'm here for yet another update. I think me and Bob Goodman got the bombshell we need to end this court mess once and for all. Sit down. The court case has been chugging along quite slowly. It's basically the Jimbo Haggley show. He's been delaying every chance he gets, and I think he's just doing it to waste my and Bob's time and money. I've seen this strategy used by Haggley before. He wastes so much of your time, you end up agreeing to settle with him just to get out of the courtroom. Well, let me tell ya, It's not going to work this time, buddy. Goodman was able to negotiate with the judge for a court-ordered drug test for Sam. The drug test was administered in the courtroom so as not to give Sarah a chance to try to mess with things. And Goodman had a good idea that I never thought of. He was thinking, well, that Sam was indeed transitioning from male to female, then surely he would be taking some sort of hormonal drug. We also wanted to see if he was using any other drugs that might be able to cast Sarah in a poor light, and, after all, if Sam was running around on drugs, how much of a watchful mother could she really be? Since it was a lab test, the court was dismissed for the day, and we were told to return for another session in just a few days' time. It took a day or two to get the results back from the drug test, but I finally got a call from Bob. He sounded excited but a bit confused. He said Sam tested positive for a drug, spironolactone, a feminine hormone drug often taken by transitioning patients, and normally this would not mean much of anything, and I would have just accepted that Sam was indeed serious about becoming a woman. But then Bob dropped the bombshell on me. Bob had researched the drug extensively and called around the city, and it turned out Sam was taking this drug without a prescription. No doctor in our area had any recent memory of prescribing it, and no pharmacist in the area even carried it. This meant that Sarah was giving an experimental hormone drug to our son without a prescription. It's possible Sam was being drugged against his knowledge, and this has been quite a stunning revelation. I'll let you all know what happens. Update number 4. Well, I'm quite pleased to tell you all what just happened in court today. Bob Goodman's breakthrough regarding Sam's unprescribed experimental hormone drug certainly came in handy in the courtroom. As we gathered for court and session began, Jimbo started up his usual spiel, but Goodman soon objected and claimed that he had some important matters to reveal to the court, and that's when he showed evidence of Sam's drug test results to the courtroom. Jimbo Haggley tried to give excuse after excuse after excuse, but the judge asked Sarah to answer directly, and he asked her if she had been giving Sam a drug that had no prescription for, and she tried to get out of answering the question multiple times, but since she was under oath, well, she had to tell the truth. The answer? Well, it's yes. Everyone in the court gasped. Much to my surprise, Sam actually started crying when all this was revealed. Me and Bob had not planned at all for this, but suddenly, Sam raised his hand and said that he wanted to testify against Sarah. Sarah immediately began screaming and raising a storm, but the judge quickly shut her up and told Sam that it was her right to testify if he chose to do so. So, right there, in front of everyone, Sam sat there and bravely discussed how Sarah had been forcing him to take these pills against his wishes, and he said that Sarah had told him he could stop taking the hormonal pills once we, and I quote, get the money we wanted from Dad. He even produced text messages for everyone to see, right there evidence, and right in that instant, Sarah and Mr. Haggley's case just fell apart. The judge said he would need some time to process these new developments in the case, so he dismissed court for the rest of the day. Haggley kept swearing up and down that they would be able to produce evidence that refuted what was said in court, but I did not put much stock in what he was saying. He sounded weak and desperate, a fish out of water. I'm so happy Sam was brave enough to say all this today, and I'm worried he's at his house being abused by Sarah right now. Update number 5. Hey guys. It's Tom here for the final update. Again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who has given me kind words and support. And thank you for all the helpful advice and encouragement as well. Knowing you were on my side throughout this debacle has helped me greatly because when it felt like my own son was against me, I was not sure where else to turn to get this off my chest. Thank you. What I wanted to tell you today will wrap this all up, so If you saw my last update, you'll know that Sam testified in my favor against Sarah. We were sent home after this so the judge could think about the case, and the next day he made his decision. Sarah was charged. Criminal child neglect and abuse, and was ordered to take a parenting class for a year while she remained on probation, and she was also cut off from the child support because the judge, well, awarded custody of Sam to me. The judge also ordered mandatory therapy and counseling for Sarah because she's clearly suffering from mental illness, thinking that all this was a good idea. It's been a while since this all went down. Sam's in my custody now, as per the court order, and we're living well. I love spending time with him, and I've been taking him to therapy to help him deal with the trauma of all this, because it's still a sad ending, even if he is going to be okay. He was betrayed and used as a pawn by his own mother. Someone he loved and trusted, and luckily no permanent damage was done to Sam by the experimental hormone drug. And he's living his life as normal, healthy male. Of course, I'd support Sam no matter what he wanted to do with his life. I'm just happy we know what he really wanted, and not what Sarah wanted. Sarah has not even attempted to make contact with us, and I don't really want her to speak to Sam anyways, but I can tell it still bothers him that she has not even made an attempt to apologize. I just hope Sarah will come to her senses eventually, because Sam is a great kid. I don't think Sarah even appreciates him, but I know one thing for certain. I do.
So it turns out Sarah was charged with child abuse and criminal neglect. So I just want to hear from you guys, your perspective on this story. If you were in OP's position and you basically know that your ex is lying, what would you do? Would you try to go to court as well? I just want to hear from you guys, so drop your responses in the comment section down below. This story was a wild one. If anyone has any information about similar stories like this, let me know about them as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more daily videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one, and just remember, it's cool to be kind.